Latin America analyst Colin Harding joins me now live from Manchester in the United Kingdom for more on this. Professor, good to have you here with us on TRT World. Now, he was not the leading candidate in the upcoming presidential election. What could be the possible motive behind his killing?
Well, he had denounced the activities of drug traffickers. He was an investigative journalist in the past, and he'd done a lot of muckraking investigations into links between politics and drug trafficking. And drug gangs have transformed Ecuador, have certainly transformed the image of Ecuador from a relatively safe country into a hotbed of political and social violence. So he could indeed. The main suspect is a local associate, a local gang which is associated with the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico. Okay. So what we have here is two Mexican cartels fighting for control of drug trafficking routes through their local associates.
Okay, so I'm trying to connect the dots here. Correct me if I'm wrong. As I understand, in a country like Ecuador, drug cartels and criminal gangs, in some instances, have more power than authorities.
Well, it's effectively getting that way. Yes, I mean the former president Rafael Correa, who's in exile in Belgium now, he's just tweeted that if this carries on, Ecuador is going to be a failed state in very short order, and this is a growing fear that because it was a relatively peaceful country, or partly because it was a relatively safe country until recently, Ecuador's security institutions are really rather weak, and the government apparatus in general is not very strong, and it doesn't really control parts of the country very well. So there is every indication that the gangs and the Albanian mafia are very much present in Ecuador as well, just to complicate matters. Every sign that the gangs are more powerful than the state, and the state is really floundering in its attempts to control them.
Right, and it looks like the upcoming elections are going to be held as per schedule. Let me ask you, to what extent do you think the assassination of Vivencio is going to have an impact on the presidential election outcome?
Well, we'll have to see about that. The most likely result at the moment looks like that ex-President Correa's preferred candidate, Luis González, is going to win it. So we'll have a left-wing government in Ecuador again. But they didn't perform particularly well against the drug gangs when they were in power until 2017. So the prospects there are not particularly encouraging. As we said, Villavicencio wasn't really expected to get into the second round, despite what his supporters said. But clearly, as we saw from the clip, some candidates have suspended their campaigning and are calling for a national dialogue and national unity and so on. So that will clearly have an effect. But President Lasso has said that the elections will go ahead in 10 days' time. But of course, the uncertainty now is rife, and it's anybody's guess what the outcome will be.
Colin Harding, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World. Really appreciate your taking out the time.